Hey everyone. Okay, so today we have our natural hair event. We have some lovely panelists, some lovely products, so we are going to get straight into the day. First, we have a little warm-up activity for y'all, because I know y'all like playing games. So we're going to play this or that. This is just scream out which one you want, and then whichever one wins, wins. That's the end of the story. Okay? All right, so round one.
Both. Both.
None of the above.
Both. 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 Both.
Alright, raise your hand if you're Team Beard. And look at who's on your team. Alright.
That's Team.
Raise your hand if you're Team Wade. Team Beard won that one.
Why not both?
Braids or faux lock? Braids! That was just braids. Dad hat or the silky?
You that nigga on the right.
Oh, okay.
You that nigga on the right.
Raise your hand for the silky.
I just want
Dad had won that one.
What's his after?
I want whoever he is.
What's his social media?
Wash and go or twist out? Raise your hand for wash and go.
No one's hair ever looks like that though.
Raise your hand for the twist. Oh, that's wash and go one.
When did his hair ever look like that?
Who's your favorite procreator? Kim or Kylie? Kim or Kylie? Who's Team Kim? Rep it.
Low-key.
Okay, who's Team Kylie? Oh, some of y'all didn't even vote. I'm with y'all who didn't vote. November 6th. November 6th.
What's November 6th?
Vote.
J. Cole dress or the weekend dress?
J. Cole!
That was in unison. Is anyone on the weekend?
I am on the weekend side.
Shame.
I love him. I like his hair better. J. Cole should not be rocking that.
Oh no.
It looks ugly.
Solange or Erica? I wanted to split y'all apart. Alright. Team Solange. Show yourself.
I gotta go with Erica.
Let me go Solange.
Team Erica? Oh, Solange had y'all.
Y'all from a different generation.
Alright, so now we're going to get straight into our lovely panel. We are going to introduce all of our panelists. We have 5 lovely people who came to spend their time with you. So, hey y'all, I'm Joy Wade. I'm going to be moderating our panel today. Follow me on Instagram, gang. If you don't follow me, you don't get no products. So, we will be verifying. I'm dead serious. Okay.
She really
So first, y'all need me to go back for that? So first we have Kyra Young. Kyra, could you raise your hand, please? So Kyra was born and raised in South Central LA. Who's from LA in here? Ooh, it's slow. Okay. She is a first-generation college graduate from UCLA with majors in poli-sci, African American studies, and sociology, and a minor in labor and workplace studies. She is the CEO of Kyra Shea Medleys LLC, a natural, multi-purpose, and vegan hair and skincare line. Her and her entire team are also the first entrepreneurs and business owners and their families. Their mission is to empower women to embrace their natural curls and love their skin. To date, they have been featured on Good Morning America, Essence, Mashable, Belavity, Naturally Curly, 102.3, KJLH Radio, LA Centennial, and more. Their products have been sold in 17 stores in Target, as well as local beauty supplies, including the Girl Cave LA. They have been recognized for social entrepreneurship through their KSM Gives Back efforts by Congresswoman Maxine Waters. And Kyra believes that she can do all things through Christ who strengthens her. Accolades. Next we have Marissa. Marissa, could you please raise your hand? So Marissa has been a curly specialist for over 3 years and has styled for red carpet events, education, photo shoots, and recently worked on a piece with Refinery 29 featuring YouTube beauty blogger Val Mercado. Is that how you pronounce her name? Okay. Val Mercado, helping her on her journey to embracing and caring for natural curls. Her mission is to empower both men and women to confidently wear their natural hair and provide them with the information and encouragement to successfully do so. She wants to challenge existing beauty standards to help people feel confident and beautiful by changing the way we work and talk about natural hair. She graduated with a BA in Gender Studies from UCLA, focusing on hair and the impact it has on emotional and aesthetic levels. Next we have Angela. Angela, raise your hand for us. Okay, so Angela C. Styles is a serial entrepreneur in the beauty space with an intense passion for hair care. With over 13 years of professional experience as a hair artist and entrepreneur, she has made quite an impact in the beauty industry. Some of her titles include salon owner, celebrity hairstylist, brand consultant, brand ambassador, educator, TV personality, and now author. She has represented brands like Miel Organics, ORS, Girl in Hair, and Universal Beauty Products. Her television resume is also unmatched. She has appeared and been on productions with VH1, BET, Fox, NBC, and WeTV. And she has worked with some music and entertainment icons like Rihanna, Keke Palmer, Rita Ora, Fifth Harmony, and more. So give it up for Angela. Next we have Prince. Give it up for our only guy on the panel. So Prince is an experienced barber, shop owner, and philanthropist who hails from the south side of Chicago. He has been cutting hair professionally for 15 years and has owned and operated 10 barbershops over the course of his career. Most recently, Prince has provided barbering services for the Grammys and Oscars and several celebrity and corporate campaigns. He has also competed in and judged in national hair shows and has been featured in hair magazines including Sophisticated Black Hair. He's also a board member of the Barbers Ball Association, and he has given back to the community by establishing a free back-to-school event in partnership with a clothing store to provide free haircuts and backpacks to Chicago's youth. Give it up for Prince. And last but not least, we have Kamari. Kamari is a natural hair stylist and author of Death by Comb. Kamari has been styling hair for the past 10 years and is most efficient in natural hair styling. She combines her passion for hair, Black women, and civil rights in her collection of poetry, Death by Comb. Kamari believes that hairstyling should never hurt, should never pull out your hair, and should never require you to take an Advil. She also believes that Black women can wear their hair however they please, but they should never style it to conform or deny their true self. Amen. Yeah, if you're on the side, I'd say grab a seat on the steps, or there's a seat over here. Yeah. There we go. So we're going to get straight into the questions. We'll probably take 1 to 2 panelists answer per question. So let's get started. So career. So I know a lot of you guys are salon owners. You've been in this industry for years. So what was your journey of becoming a hairstylist, and what advice could you give to someone who wants to do hair on the side or start their own salon? So we can start with Prince, since you've owned and worked at like 10 salons and barbershops. That's crazy.
Well, my journey pretty much started off with, just being curious, wanting to cut my own hair. And my dad, he used to actually cut hair on a few businesses in Chicago also. But one thing was, I was practicing and I messed up. So I messed up, and I just found a love for it. Eventually, well, after high school, I went right into barber college. And so I didn't want to go to a traditional college because my dad was really pressuring me to do it, but my choice was to go to barber college. And so right after, I pretty much saved all of my money, stopped hanging out and spending my money reckless, and I invested to my own barbershop at the age of 23. And so every year since then, I managed to, open up my own barbershop ever since, ranging from in Chicago to here in Los Angeles. So my best advice to anyone who's looking to open their own barber or beauty salon or any business, just take the risk. If you take a big risk, guess what? You get a big reward. Without no big risk, well, guess what? You don't get nothing. So that's just always been my approach on it, and just make sure you stay true to yourself when you do it.
Marissa?
So for me, my interest it started as a child. I'm biracial, so I'm half Filipina, half black. And my mom always wore her hair pressed, and then my dad wished he had curls. So my mom always pressured me to wear my hair curly, but I was like, well, you don't wear your hair curly. My sister had more Filipina hair, so it was always like a love-hate relationship, curiosity, like how do I do my hair, because no one really knew how to do it. And then, from there, growing up, just not really seeing a lot of examples in mainstream media or the people around me. And even further, then we just moved to some small suburban where it was like predominantly white. And so then you just definitely felt other. So in high school, I actually wore my hair straight all the time. So it's just a conscious thing, like, oh, it's swimming week, or it's basketball tryouts and I'm sweating and I just pressed my hair. So it was just always a conscious thing. And then at UCLA, when I was going for gender studies, that's kind of where we started talking about bodies and representation. And then I realized, like, oh, it's not just me who feels like I'm marginalized by just the way I look. And so that's where I started to really research it. And so kind of I felt the best way for me to make a difference is to help people who might have my same struggle, like give them the information that I didn't have, both like in terms of feeling good about yourself and your hair as just a one-on-one client to stylist relationship, because that's kind of where it was rooted. I didn't really love the way I looked, and so kind of helping people to feel better, giving them the tools to handle their hair so they feel better, and then also cutting it so it looks good. So, I don't know, just one of those things that it was kind of in the back of my mind, and then I was like, I should take this seriously. And I think at the end of the day, no matter what your passion is, and for me being hair, if you take it seriously, you'll fly. So that's kind of where I landed. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move to another question. Growing up curly, so what was it like growing up with quote unquote black hair, curly hair, kinky hair? And when did you decide to go natural, if you're natural now, and what was that transition like? So we'll start with Kyra.
So I have what they call 4C. If I can name a category, I would call it 5C. So growing up, I had that you have to press twice. Press up, press down, extra thick. Girl, why your hair so thick? I do not want to do your hair kind of thick. So that is what I grew up with as a young age. I hated getting my hair pressed. I hated getting my hair combed, but I wasn't tender-headed, so I would just do it because I knew it was something that I had to. And I don't say go natural, I say go back to natural. The only reason why I don't say go natural is because it kind of puts that this is a trend kind of thing, as if our hair wasn't naturally like this to begin with. Going back to natural is choosing to go back to a specific lifestyle, you know, inheriting your traditions and your cultures of how our hair is, and it's naturally beautiful no matter which way you decide to wear it. But I was actually a student at UCLA as well, and that surrounding area was predominantly white and Asian. So even the beauty supplies and the salons in the area, of course, didn't have not one image that looked like me or had a person with hair that looked like mine. So that was actually one of the reasons why I started my company. And then I was a part of the African Women's Collective at UCLA, and we were just talking, like, I think it was a rebellious thing at that moment. We're just like, nah, like, we're only 1% of this population, like, let's just be us and do it unapologetically. So that was around like 2009. I horribly messed up, like I did not do it right. I was still blow drying my hair and everything, but I officially started while I was still a student at UCLA, and then kind of went from there.
Kamari?
Okay, so my journey, I've always been natural, as in I never like permed it, but that didn't mean I took good care of it. I was dyeing it, pressing it often, blow drying it, and so I grew up in South Central, and so I feel like the pressure here is a little different because I also went to school in Texas. So here it's like weave it up or braid it up, I always hide it. And when I went to Texas, it was like, you need to perm it. And so I was like, what is the problem with this? And so I'm always been like against the grain. So it's like, I'm not going to perm it, I gotta figure it out. And so that was pretty much my journey. And I have another sister, but she has a finer texture, and I'm 4C as well, like really, really kinky. And nobody wanted to do my hair. And it always felt terrible to like sit in a chair and someone complaining about your hair while doing it. And I have this theory, like, when people are touching your hair, like they're transferring some kind of like energy. Not like to be like weird, but if they're not, no, like for real, if they're like happy, that's like putting good love into it. If they're mad and yanking it, like you're risking losing your hair. And so I risked losing edges, losing strands, because there's this like stigma that because it's coarse, it's rough, it's not fragile. So people put that extra force into it when it's not needed. So I risk losing hair, risk all of that because I didn't know any better. And I'm glad for this wave of going back to natural, like we're going back to Black-owned businesses and finding out what really works for hair, because not every product works for your hair. Even if you are 4C, something works better for you. So that was kind of my journey, a lot of experimenting and going back to just like really embracing it.
Great. Angela, do you want to share a little bit?
Sure. I always had a relaxer growing up, and I was just told that I had like nappy hair, so I needed one. So I never knew what my hair was like. Even as I became a hairstylist, I was projecting the same thing that was pushed on me of like, if your hair is done, it's straight, and it's, you know, long, or if you need a weave, you're gonna put a weave in. So it wasn't really until maybe I would say like 2007 or 2010, I moved here, and I decided to grow my hair out naturally, but then I still straightened it. It wasn't probably until 2013 or 14, I would say, that I actually like did a big chop and grew my hair and looked at my curl pattern from the beginning, and that was like super transformative. People treat you differently, like you get different attention from men. You know, it was more different it was more different for me as a stylist because I was always projecting a specific image onto people, and then I changed my image, and then I had to see myself differently as well as help encourage other women to see themselves differently. And so that's kind of what inspired this, which we'll probably talk about later. But it inspired me in a different way to project more than one image. And what I love about being Black is that we can do everything. That's really why we're magical, is because we could take some random hair that's not even on a track and do what? Crochet it in our head. But we can also wet our hair and we have these beautiful curls, but we can also straighten our hair and it be bone straight. So it's like celebrating all of that in one is where I've landed, basically.
So now we're going to talk to our authors. We have 2 authors here today. So why did you decide to write a book about natural hair? I wish I had that when I was a kid, like a book about, you know, just your hair. And like, why is that significant to you?
I'll just finish, I guess, it's just talking. So, the reason that I wrote hair, and this is definitely for younger kids, it's not for your demographic, but everything that I talked about in this book relates to every woman, every girl, any age. It's basically about us being in an environment where we don't see ourselves, especially, you know, mixed girls. If their mom is not black, they always look at their mom and say like, oh, like, why is my hair like hers? And so for me, my mom had really pretty like wavy hair and I didn't. And a lot of times we either go to school and we might be like one of 4 black kids in school. And so I wrote about the character and she noticed that about her, you know, herself and her life. And she's like, my hair doesn't look like yours or anybody else's at school. I want to hide it. And I think that's what we've all decided to do for the most part at some point in our life or another, is hide it in braids or hide it and make it straight or hide it in a weave. And so her mom basically explained to her, like, no, your hair is magic. It can do all these things. And it was my way to articulate not only hair care, but also just hair love, and explaining like how dope it is that we can have all this versatility. And yeah, it was basically my love letter and my way to explain to the next generation that you don't have to beat up your hair to then get back to this place of, oh, I actually love it. I actually do like my curl. You can start there from the beginning.
That was great. So my book is called Death by Comb. It's actually a book of poems, and so about half of it is about hair and being hair, and then the other half is my experience as a black woman. But I feel like as a black woman, hair is everything, right? And so it's about that. But most importantly, I feel as though that we can't talk enough about ourselves as black women. I know there's some men in here, you too. Like, we can't get enough of talking about ourselves, because when you think of like United States and this world in totality, it's not enough voices coming from us. And I feel it's important. It's like this phrase, if like we don't tell your story, someone else will. And so I have to tell my story about why my hair is important. And I talk about not from just the viewpoint of hair from outside looking in, but inside looking out, like what it's like to have texture envy. Oh, well, then I got 4 teeth, I can't do that wash and go, or I can't, you know, it's that, you know what I'm talking about, it's that texture envy, or I'm glad I can just get up, spray some water on it. And so I talk about the texture envy, you know, kind of between black women, and I also, I mostly do like a lot of challenging on both, outside looking in, inside looking out, embracing it, because, you know, I talk about how it's really everything, because it shapes our experience as a woman. It shapes our experience when we go to school. What's your experience like being here? What's your experience like, you know, going to work? Okay, when I go to interview, do I wear a wig? Do I put some twist? You know, that experience, and maybe you'll experience that soon. So it's mostly about embracing yourself as a woman, your hair, what it means, and that's pretty much it.
So some people in here might not be natural, they might just be curious about the options. So if you have a client or somebody in your family, like, girl, how you do that natural stuff? What can you say? What is the journey gonna be like when you do the big chop, or when you take the last track out of your hair? Like, what are the emotions? What is the process? Are you gonna go from like teeny weeny afro to waist length in a month? Like, what is a realistic process?
They call it a natural hair journey for a reason. Like, it is not easy. For me, I didn't do a big chop because I thought my head was too big for a big chop. I'm like, no, I have a watermelon head. I'm not gonna look cute with a short hairstyle. But what I did, I never permed my hair either, but I did do a Brazilian blowout, so that fully ruined my texture. So what I was doing was letting my hair out, and I was cutting it as it was growing. But I kind of looked like, I'm not sure if you guys are too young for this, but when Bugs Bunny threw the bomb into that monster's hair, that's how my hair looked. It was straight pieces with lightning bolts coming out of it. Like, that's literally how my hair looked. So for me, it was almost a traumatic experience going back to natural, trying to embrace and love my curl pattern again. I mean, even at one point, like, I didn't have edges. I thought that it was a hereditary hairline, but actually
Different things and be gracious with yourself.
That's why we're gonna have you your own curl box down here. Hair care advice from a stylist perspective, because I feel like a lot of naturals, like me included, like I haven't been to a hairstylist since I don't know when. Like I haven't been to a hair salon since so long. So what are the biggest mistakes that you see your clients making with their natural hair? Because I know people, like on YouTube especially, I mean, I make videos, I mean, like, I disclaim, like, I'm not a stylist, but this is what worked for me, and then people be taking that to heart, so, like, I'm like, I ain't had a trim since 18, 20, and then they're like, well, I'm not getting a trim. I'm like, well, that might not be for you. So, when somebody sits in your chair, like, what are the biggest, like, mistakes? You're like, nah, you gotta change this.
Well, I guess be very serious about your regimen. So, you know, do you think of your hair as like a plant? If you neglect it, it's going to die. And same thing, what you put in your body is like more important than what you put on it. So if you're not being good to yourself inside and out, it's going to reflect in your hair, in your skin. So, you know, first step, like take care of yourself and take it seriously. And no offense, but trimming is important. Like being very regular about haircuts, because a lot of people find themselves in that place like, oh, it's growing, and even if you see like the color, like let's say you do color, but you're like, it doesn't pass a certain point, that's breakage. If you never get in front of the breakage, it's gonna just keep happening. So I'm not saying you have to chop it, but if you're not willing to chop it, then you can't, you know, be like, oh, okay, I'm okay with like, you know, taking a tiny bit and I'll be back next year, because it's gonna move up the hair. So I think the biggest thing is like a lot of people go in strong, they're like, all right, I'm gonna be cool, and then, you know, life gets in the way, school, vacation, and then the next thing you know, 6 months pass and you haven't really done anything. Like, oh, last time, you know, I've done a treatment or something, you know. So just, you know, be mindful. I like to pair my treatments with when I clean, because I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna shower anyway after, so just try to work it in some way that you know you're gonna commit, I guess, to doing something like that.
Just to piggyback off what she said, trims are important, and going to visit a professional is very important. As much as I love and appreciate what the YouTube community has done, there's so much misinformation on YouTube. A lot of it is wrong or it's incorrect, and even though it may work for one hair type, it doesn't work for everyone. And so it's important to actually go and seek a professional at some point, especially if you want color, especially if you need a haircut, and even conditioning treatments. Certain conditioning treatments that have protein in it might not be good for your hair, whereas other ones might be. And so it's important to still give the respect to the professionals that spent money, spent time actually learning why and how hair grows and how to nurture it. And I know that everybody has probably had a bad, you know, experience in the salon. That's pretty much why the natural hair community sprouted anyway, is because of that. But trust and know that there are really good hairstylists, hair professionals that can take care of your hair better than you can. So you should come see us.
I would also say, like, a lot of problems I've seen is when you take out your braids or any protective style, going straight to shampooing. You don't do that, because your hair's already been dry. It's already been in a protective style, away from the elements, but it's also very dry. So when you go and you shampoo it, putting a drying element on top of it, that's when you have more breakage. You have more harder problem detangling your hair. And so what I would suggest, if you get out a protective style, put a couple ways. Wet your hair, or put like water bottle, have conditioner, put that in there and just rake it with your fingers, just to get that like shedding out and you don't have that much loss, and put that moisture back into it. Then go with your regular routine. So it's not to just keep the conditioner in there. That's not cleaning it, it's just to help with the detangling, putting that moisture back in there. Also, like, avoid mini twists and mini braids, especially like if your hair has a tendency to be detangled, because I just put some mini twists. I mean, I do those often, but I'd say, like, don't keep them in too long, because you're gonna break your hair out. And like, take good care of the twist while you have it. Moisturize it, do what you can to keep it from being dry. That's my most problem I see, is like when your hair is too dry and you're doing more drying things on top of it.
And I I'm not a stylist per se, but what I've also have learned with my natural hair journey is how to pick products as well. Like, so it took some research, you know, understanding the difference between a moisturizer versus a sealant, the kind of ingredients that you are using. Like with our products, like the reason why we chose specific natural ingredients like avocado and shea butter and coconut oil and aloe vera juice is because they do for the outside of your body the same thing they do on the inside. So when you can, like, actually pick up the jar and read the ingredients, you know, I dare you to do that, because you're gonna be like, oh, like I'm putting something in my hair that they use to clean car garages with, or I'm putting something in my hair, you know, that they just chopped off this animal's butt. Like, it's just if you can, like, just try to do some research, and like she said, just be serious, you know, about what you're doing to your hair. And I kind of want to put it out there, the conversation of shrinkage. I know everybody hates it, you know, we all want to be able to show our length, but shrinkage means that you have a healthy curl. So if your hair doesn't snap back when you pull it down, that means there's something wrong, and you need to really see a professional at that point. But embrace your curls, embrace your shrinkage.
So I know we just shook up the pot a little bit. I hope y'all is taking notes.
Shake the table, sis.
That one about shampoo.
We kind of talked about this. If anyone wants to comment on this, or if not, we can kind of skip it. But like, what things should people look for when searching the internet for advice? Does hair type, porosity matter? And are there any stylists or bloggers you recommend? Obviously, all the stylists up here we recommend. Their business cards are down here for you guys to grab. But like, if you can't get to a stylist right away, where should you go for advice? And what things like absolutely matter? Anybody want to snag this one?
Okay, I'll say something. Okay, oh my God. So I was watching that YouTube video. Don't listen to those YouTube videos that are always perfect, when they avoid the process. Like, how'd you get from here to here? And you're just like, wait a minute, I lost you. Don't follow that advice, because that means they're not willing to show you the real, like what the problem really was and how they fixed it. They're not out to help you. They're out to like really boost their YouTube. So like, I just say, if they're not showing you the full process, you know, that's one of them. I don't know, this is a loaded question.
Oh, I would say get your advice from someone whose hair looks like yours. A lot of times, because we touched on this, but you know, certain people prefer certain curl types. But if your hair isn't that curl type, it's never going to be that curl type. So you shouldn't look to them.
Sorry.
You know, like you shouldn't look to them for hair care advice, because what they do for their hair doesn't apply to you. And a lot of times I see, you know, so many girls worshiping a certain type of like hair. That's genetics. Like, yeah. That's not going to be your hair, and she can use pretty much anything and get this same defined curl because she's Dominican. It's fine. You know, but just find someone who A, looks like you, and then B, really is giving you some information. I don't really like YouTubers who are just like having fun. They're like, oh yeah, I just tried this, I just threw it on, I just did it. You know, it's like, but why? You know, there's always a why behind something. So you want to take advice from somebody who can give you the why and not just what.
Great. Any advice for growing hair? I know a lot of people are like, I just want my hair to be long. Like
Trims.
Trims.
Your hair grows back.
All right, trims.
Well, to elaborate, basically what she said earlier was your hair is like a plant. So in order to see the growth, because a lot of people are like, if you cut the ends, how does it grow more from the root? It's not the same. Cutting the ends just helps to prevent any more splitting that the ends will do. And so your hair will continue to grow from the root, but if it's always splitting on the ends, you will never actually see the growth. So going regularly and consistently is what's going to actually help you see the growth, and then adding moisture, layering products that are going to really moisturize your hair, co-washing more if you actually have dry hair. Those things are going to be more helpful in actually seeing the growth. but you don't just trim it once a year. I think that's the worst advice ever. If you listen to anybody say that, don't listen to them. You should go quarterly pretty much for your hair, if not closer, depending on the texture and the amount of dryness and stuff like that.
And a good sign, maybe you can elaborate more on it, because I don't really do as many trims. I mostly do like style and I refer the trims. But like a good sign is when you need that trim is if you hear that snapping. Anybody ever heard that snap? When you combing your hair and you hear that pop? Thank you for being real. I appreciate you. That snap, that's a good sign. And then like you see, like notice your shed. If you just got a whole bunch of shedding, it's time. And then yes, them little ones, them little
That chair.
it's time. And another sign is like you have your hair out and it should look full, as in it shouldn't look like there's like, okay, you see how like your hand, like this is full and then like this is like spaces? That's when it's time to get a trim. Like you should not be able to see through your hair.
And all of that needs to go.
All of it needs to go.
Where the spaces?
And you are shocked.
Where these spaces?
It grows back. Like I was here when I started with my natural hair journey. Now my hair is brown, straight, plain.
What?
And you could tell, you know, but if you pull, is that snapback important for your shrinkage? You need that snapback. Like it grows back when you trim your hair. Like it's just keeping it healthy. And if you can, just find a consistent regimen, you know, that you can do. Massaging your scalp helps to get the blood flowing. And you can do it for like just a minute, or if you have your boyfriends or girlfriends here, have them do it for you. Like it feels bomb. Like, like, but that actually helps your, you know, get your follicles away. So just be consistent and treat it with love, and it grows back. Like
And it's easier
your hair
to
grows
detangle
back.
when your hair is trimmed. It's so much easier to detangle.
Yeah.
Okay, so now even if you can't get to the salon, right? I would recommend the easiest way to trim your hair and make sure that it's consistently the same length from root to end is to do a bunch of like twists, and wherever you see a little bit of hair kind of hanging on the bottom, you basically want to cut it until the twist is thick at the end. And so that'll be the easiest way for you to do it yourself. It won't be even, like your hairstyle won't be even, and if you straighten it, it'll probably.
This one is career related, so all of us are students. We might be going into different industries where, so quote unquote, natural hair isn't professional.